this toxic world of reality, we have a common enemy. And now it's time for all fallen fighters to rise and take their stand. For he who fight and ran away shall live to fight another day. And today is that day.
Don't we need to begin with education, begin with rewriting the textbook, rewriting the textbooks in America to tell the truth about blacks and whites in America in context?
Yes, for 1 second, yes.
That's what I wanted to, Minister Farrakhan. The education system, the education system. Our children right now are being miseducated. Our children right now are being miseducated. What can we do so that we can inform our children, educate our children? And it's sad because white folks don't know anything about black history. And it's pathetic that white folks have to wait till February to find out that we were slaves. I would like us to speak to what are we going to do to improve the education of this whole society, which have cheated them from our true heritage.
May I respond? I said in the first segment it was a crime of omission as well as a crime of commission. And that crime has affected both white and black. White folk have been made to believe that the history of civilization begins in Egypt and that Egypt was a white civilization. And that many whites have been made to believe that black folk were just in the jungles of Africa running around with no clothes on and never contributed anything to the advancement of civilization, while at the same time there are masons and shriners. Some of your parents are shriners and masons, and they put on the fez of the Muslim people, and what they're studying is the true history of the black people of this earth. I think if the proper education were given to black and white, we could come away with a healthy respect. We could come away with a healthy respect, one for the other. I want to clear this, that I don't think black people disrespect the tremendous accomplishments that white folk have made. But if white folk do not know what black people have contributed to the advancement of civilization, it leads to a disrespect of a whole segment of the population. And this is why today I will say that black children, as much as we need education, we don't want to go to these schools because the food that we are being fed is not proper. But any one of us can go into the schools where there's no discipline, where there's madness in the corridors, and we can speak to our youth and get their attention in a matter of moments, because we are teaching them that which their souls yearn for, that is a proper knowledge of self. And if they won't give it to us, we have the responsibility to give it to ourselves.
And when we get wealthy among them, they do everything to destroy us. Check this story out.
I'm accustomed to being pulled over and stuff when I'm driving cars and so on. I'm accustomed to it. I get it. Never liked it, but I understood. Right? But this particular day when they've come out, it was so many police officers. And they said, we're here to arrest you for firearms. I'm like, firearms? I'm like, really? I said, no, you got the wrong person.
Being pulled over, and before you could blink, the handcuffs were on Dale, and he was pulled outside the car, and I was trying to understand what is going on, what did we do? Trying to get a sense from the cops and not understanding what's going on, and basically just being shouted at to stay in the car, be quiet, we're talking to him. Having this played out before somebody actually gave me some information.
Police told Dale he was being arrested for possession of a firearm, and they had a warrant to search his home.
So at that time, I'm thinking, you have about 15, 20 people here. What is it? What could I have actually done to have made something like this happen. Why are they here?
Around the same time, police were breaking into his mother's flat while she worked at the local hospital.
And when I came home, I saw my door busted. So there's a padlock on my door. A lot of things were scattered on my house. All of my drawer with my panties, my bras, everything was pulled out, thrown on the floor.
Back at Dale's, the police's line of questioning, which he says he was later to learn underpinned the allegations against him, was how could he afford the things in his house? A nice car.
One of the comments the police officer even said when they came in, how did you get to have all these things? I'm like, have all of what? I don't understand. And he's like, it's clear that on one of the statements they've written, they say we're living above our means. I'm like, how can you know we're living above our means? You don't know what I do.
No firearm was found in his house, his partner's or his mother's. The family thought that would be the end of it. But during the search, police found just under £2,000 in Dale's safe. Initially, the arrest was for firearms possession. Now, it was for money laundering.
We are black people. This is the reason why this is continuing, and there is no end to this.
Dale was suspended from his job at the bank. Police obtained a financial restraint order freezing all his assets. Terrified, the couple replaced their legal aid solicitor with a private lawyer.
I've explained my assets, my finances. He produced, within 24 hours, a file because they said his watch, his jewellery, his possessions were all tainted items. So under the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002, they made the assertion that everything was part of the proceeds of crime. They have used shoestring or false intelligence that there's a young black man with no previous convictions driving a brand new X6, enjoying life, and then the next day he's the enemy of the state.
7 weeks after it was put in place, the financial restraint order against him was dropped, as there was no lawful grounds for it to remain in place. Once again, Dale assumed this meant the case against him would be dropped. Once again, he was wrong. After months of asking, the Met Police finally provided the original warrant and details of the information they used to get it.
It actually said that I was involved in a sham marriage, money laundering. I'm thinking, what? I go by 4 different aliases, different names. I'm thinking, okay, what? I'm into drugs, human trafficking, and the worst one was terrorism.
Alongside this litany of enormous allegations, they also had to tackle a series of basic errors in the police information about Dale, a British passport holder born in Montserrat.
There is this element of being from Jamaica, which he isn't from Jamaica. He has no links to Jamaica apart from me, but he's now it's part of what they're investigating. First, he's in the UK illegally. He's got ties to trafficking.
Still suspended from work, for months and months he was left in limbo.
Oh dear, it's a nightmare I can't wake up from.
It was really, really bad. It got to the point where sometimes I felt like I didn't even want to be around. Now she's like, don't hurt yourself, promise me you won't hurt yourself. Me and my mother, we went through so much, and I never wanted her to have looked back at me and say, this is what my son has amounted to. It was such shame. It was such shame.
18 months after he was first arrested, he's arrested again at 20 to 7 in the evening on suspicion of possession of firearms. None are found. At 7:15, just 35 minutes later, he is de-arrested. People will say there's no smoke without fire. It's entirely possible that the Met Police would say we had credible intelligence that justified this investigation.
This started off with false intelligence. A man of no previous convictions, no bad character, not touching a firearm in his life. An explanation of every penny he's ever earned in his life, from pay slips to tax returns to cash. The question I'd be asking myself as I was looking at this case would be, to go this far, surely, with all the costs, God knows how much the financial investigation and the CPS spent on this very 26-month case, in the public purse, as well as my client defending himself privately, you'd think that there was something. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Dale's lawyer says from the beginning police obtained warrants based on a wholly inaccurate portrayal of Dale's character, and that if he'd been a white bank manager, this would never have happened. On the 11th of October, the Met Police tell Dale's lawyer no further action will be taken in the case. There was no apology.
I've had to become the best bank manager for years, for quite a few years. It's something of memories of my past and what I've achieved. But the person I was before now, I feel like that person is now gone. Like I said, I feel like something has been taken away from me, and I feel like I can never get that back. If when someone rings my doorbell or even knocks on my door, automatically I think someone is there to get me. If I'm driving and I see a police siren coming up, even if it's an ambulance, I'm thinking someone is trying to get me. Constantly. I just can't get it out of my head.
Dale is back at work, though at a lower grade. His hopes of becoming a director in the bank all gone. It's already cost him around £140,000 in legal costs. He's very conscious of others in a similar situation who couldn't afford to defend themselves. He now intends to sue the Met for damages. The family hope for an apology.
It's just really hard to kind of think, okay, the investigation's over, so okay, we can now breathe. I don't think we will ever be able to breathe.
And how will we be able to breathe with your foot constantly on our necks? Please, ease the pressure.
It means so much to me that people that's around me, they would know that I was innocent. I just feel that if you're good people and you're doing things correctly, in the end, you will prevail. It will happen. It has to happen.
Time for us to go home. African bone. We hoped you learned a lot from this content. Thank you for tuning into Culture Links TV. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you.